Hundreds of flood victims in Nelson Mandela Bay are picking up their pieces. Heavy rains displaced more than 1,000 residents after their homes were swept away. Let's get the latest on mop-up operations now with Joseph Tsatsire, who is the Director of Water Distribution at Nelson Mandela Bay Municipality. Joseph, thank you for making time for us. What's the extent of the damage in Nelson Mandela Bay as a result of these heavy rains?
Good afternoon, Clement. Good afternoon to your viewers. Thank you for the opportunity. Obviously, our disaster management teams are actually assessing, the damages that have been caused by rainfall. They are actually assisting all the victims, in terms of the emergency as well as, the stabilization of the situation they found themselves in. They are currently obviously assessing, the damages, but obviously, upon conclusion, they will actually then declare, what cost and quantify, exactly, the damages, as a result of, this disruption caused by this localized flooding.
The South African Weather Service issued a yellow level 2 warning for more disruptive rain over, the Kruger and the Nelson Mandela Bay metros on Thursday. And this is while mop-up operations were in full swing. How are those mop-up operations going? How affected are the many people there in Nelson Mandela Bay Metro?
Yeah, Clement, I think obviously most of, informal settlements that are in, low-lying areas are actually affected by, as I call, localized flooding. Across the city, there are quite a number of informal settlements that are in those areas. And I think, as I said, our disaster management teams are actually assisting them, and I think in quantifying exactly, the damages caused, of which, possibly, by tomorrow or so, we should be able to see reports of the extensive, damages that has been caused by this rainfall. But I think we are quite welcoming the rain as well, because from a water distribution point of view, we have actually seen an increase, into our dam levels. So far, we have recorded, I think, plus or minus, 7% increase. We have seen, our dam levels combined increasing from 13 to about 17%. And we hope, I think, we're going to continue to get, water into our dams, which will be actually coming in terms of, providing potable water to our citizens in the metro.
Yeah. And what's going to be the impact? What you spoke about the water distribution. And getting more water into the dams. What's going to be the impact on the metro going forward?
Obviously, so far as I've mentioned, it's plus or minus 7% increase in our combined dam level. Obviously, that will go a long way in actually stabilizing, our water supply. I'm very cautious, to say that, that will not be able to break the drought that we are currently experiencing. The rain will actually go a long way, especially in the suburban. Most of the people have invested, in rainwater harvesting, and obviously that will actually see an offset in terms of consumption. And the rain that we have actually gathered in our dams will go a long way in ensuring that we stabilize our consumption in the metro.
And what do you think it's going to take to finally break the drought?
Look, we actually need rainfall in the catchment areas, obviously, of greater about 50 millimeters, in 24 hours. That will actually lift our dam levels. At this point in time, we haven't received such intensity, and I think we are hoping that in a couple of days we actually receive, the required rainfall in our catchment areas that will be able to lift our dams. Currently, obviously, it's, as I call it, suburban rainfall. We are experiencing it in the city mostly, and that's not where our, catchment areas are.
And how have the farmers and the other stakeholders been surviving with this drought so far?
Yeah, obviously, I think it's difficult times. I think mostly they also, rely on irrigation and obviously from surface dams. Some obviously have actually lost, some of their production and crops. But obviously it has been actually tough times for most, especially domestic as well as, the farming community in the Nelson Mandela Metro.
And are drainage systems and even key infrastructure being properly maintained? given how when you are seeing, the kind of heavy rains we are seeing in the Nelson Mandela Bay area, we've seen this in KwaZulu-Natal as well, where because of that infrastructure not being properly maintained, the destruction that these heavy rains cause are quite extensive.
Look, as I said initially, mostly in informal settlements, there's not drainage systems. But I think in formal areas as well, there is a required, maintenance on it, annual basis to ensure that, most of our drains, does actually catch, stormwater drainage systems and be able to take it away without causing any destruction to your properties. However, our roads and stormwater departments are actually seized with that mandate to be able to maintain, our drainages. In some areas, they're actually functioning properly. Obviously, in other areas, we have seen actually, blockage of those drains that has caused, damage to private property.
All right, Joseph Tsatsire, Director of Water Distribution in Nelson Mandela Bay Municipality. Thank you for making time.